Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Wednesday, January 10th. So we have the moon in Capricorn energy. We are building towards the new moon in Capricorn popping off on the 11th. So we're definitely in the new moon window, which means that we are sitting in the funk. We're sitting in the darkness. We are realizing what it is that we're no longer in alignment with, what it is we no longer want to build towards and experience. And although that funk isn't fun, it is absolutely necessary under the dark phase of the moon in order for us to conjure up what it is that we would like to be experiencing in the place of the things that we know that we want to collapse, that we want to close the door on. And of course, that turns into the framework, the seeds, if you will, that we're planting as far as new intentions go under that new moon in Capricorn, which of course has us focused on long-term goals, long-term visions. And so with this particular energy, there's going to be some highs, some lows, some everything in between in order to help tweak, refine, really hone in, zone in on our thoughts, our feelings, what it is that we have to let go of, what it is that we have to turn our backs on in order to orient into a new path, a new direction that is more in alignment with our higher selves. So of course, there's an astro forecast out for your listening pleasure. Download your moon guide if you haven't already. If you haven't listened to your zodiac forecast for January, you might want to download that too. Figure out where this particular new moon in Capricorn is illuminating a certain area, certain focus, certain topic in your life. There's lots of resources out there for you. This is the first new moon of 2024, so it's very important that we get our shit together, we get organized, we get in alignment, we get on the right track. So with that being said, there are 10 different aspects taking place here today. 7 of them are going to involve the moon. Before we jump into any moon aspects, we have Mars, the god of war, ruling over our physical energy, our drive, our passion, our desires, even our anger. In this Capricorn energy, making an awkward interaction with Uranus, the great awakener who is retrograde in Taurus energy. First of all, there's a little bit of restlessness. There's a little bit of anxiety. We have ants in our pants. We want to take action. We want to make moves. We are very much more in alignment with taking action on impulse, which we should avoid at all costs because, of course, the Capricorn energy that Mars is in, we need to be very calculated, very deliberate in our actions and how it is that we exert our energy. Mars wants to take action on impulse, worry about the consequences later, and of course, Capricorn energy just not supporting that. So you're going to want to avoid impulse. You're going to want to avoid taking any kind of risk because you're going to set yourself up to make a mess. We shouldn't be taking any actions right now under the dark phase of the moon. Not time for that. Not supported in that. If you do, you will likely have to clean up a mess long before you're able to actually move forward, make some progress in the process of building towards something new. So just keep that in the back of your mind. Now, the moon in Capricorn going to sextile Saturn. Saturn rolls over the Capricorn energy in his rulership over Capricorn season, over this new moon in Capricorn. Saturn is the lord of karma, ruling over roles, responsibilities, systems, structures, foundations, willpower, discipline, and of course, he is in Pisces energy, breaking down the falsities, the delusions, the old belief system in order for us to build something better, something more accurate, something more in alignment in the place of the things that are no longer supporting us to move forward. This is a sextile. This is a beautiful interaction, beautiful energy. It is bossing us up. It is putting us in a particular perspective where we are kind of seeing the new roles, the new responsibilities that we're being asked to boss up into. We're taking a logical, practical approach to our to-do list, what needs to be done. We are getting a little bit of a reality check. It's not harsh. It's not a bitch slap, so this is definitely a more welcomed way to kind of remind us of what's important, of where it is that we have to be anchored and grounded into the present moment, and realize where it is that we are building towards something new. The moon is going to make an awkward interaction with Uranus, who is retrograde in the Taurus energy. This isn't going to feel good. This is going to create a level of confusion. This is going to create a lot of anxiety, a lot of restlessness within us. We're a little bit jittery. Now, why this is because we are kind of approaching the cusp, the precipice point of taking action and making major moves. And of course, we will be doing that in a couple of days after the moon starts illuminating itself in the sky once again. We're not there yet, but why we have to sit in this funk is to realize what it is that we're nervous about, what it is that we're holding fear about, where it is that we're anticipating not so good outcomes. We have to get in alignment with where it is that we're not supporting ourselves. The moon is then going to come up to, bump into, conjunct Mars. This is a beautiful interaction. This is A, pulling us out of that earlier funk. B, helping us to tap into that warrior type of spirit. We have to boss up. We have to take charge. We have to be determined. We have to be inspired. We have to be motivated if we plan on making the changes that we know that we want to make in order to create a realm and a reality, a day-to-day life that looks good, that feels good, that is encouraging and supporting this new version of self. So it is a beautiful time to get real with ourselves, to get a plan together, to understand where it is that we are anxiously inspired and motivated to take action and make moves, where it is that we're ready to lead, where it is that we're kind of ready to keep this fire, the spark, this flame within us kind of cultivated, to keep us inspired, to keep that energy level high so that we can get the job done. The moon then trines Jupiter, the planet of growth, expansion, beliefs, abundance, and blessings, who is direct in this Taurus energy, putting us in the most optimistic, confident, particular, calculated, strategic mind frame and emotion that we could possibly embody. Jupiter wants us to grow and expand on the things that are working and collapse the things that are no longer working. Jupiter wants us to have a better belief system, especially within ourselves, so that we believe that whatever it is that we want to achieve is possible as long as we get out of our own damn way. This is a beautiful energy for us to kind of pluck ourselves out of the depths of the funk, the depths of the darkness, and put us in a position to realistically approach new opportunities with the best mind space that we could possibly be in. Venus, the goddess of love, beauty, worth, pleasure, and money in the Sag energy, is going to semi-square, creating a little bit of a tension, a little bit of a conflicting point with Pluto. Pluto is the great transformer. He's in Capricorn energy. This is going to intensify our emotions, our headspace. This is going to trigger some very complex feelings, some complex thoughts. Especially when we kind of start unpacking this, we're going to realize that the root of this frustration, of this not so nice thought and feeling, is deeply ingrained in our programming, in our conditioning. We know this because Pluto takes us on a deep dive in our psyche. Venus is there to trigger our heart space with a not so nice thought and feeling, where it is that we're feeling restricted, where it is that we're not feeling settled, where it is that we're not feeling totally content and satisfied, especially not only within ourselves, not only within our realm, our reality, our day-to-day life, but within specific relationship dynamics. This is going to put us in a situation to either realize where it is that we're being manipulated and controlled on someone else's narrative to do things that we may not want to do, that we might find ourselves doing just for the sake of not rocking the boat, or we are realizing where it is that we're actually manipulating or trying to control other people into the narrative that we want to see come full circle. Now, either way, we are going to have an aha moment, an epiphany on where some of these energy exchanges need to be changed and transformed into something balanced. And this is going to be another aha moment, another realization where it is that we're actually creating some unnecessary troubles, some unnecessary problems that we really don't need to be dealing with, or where it is that other people are kind of stirring the pot and creating a situation that doesn't need to be created. Either way, it's bringing up a lot of not so nice thoughts and feelings, a lot of darkness, a lot of uncomfortability when it comes to social situations, or, like I previously mentioned, a very important relationship dynamic. I think it is very good reminder to just put out there that the line between passion and anger is very, very thin. And many of us walk that very thin line on a daily basis. And especially under this particular aspect, we are definitely going to see how thin that line actually is. So there's definitely going to be a pop off, whether it be of the heart, of the head, of relationship dynamics. There's going to be some kind of tension and conflict brought to our attention, brought to our awareness that isn't going to feel so good. Now, we're not going to sit in it for too long. The moon in Capricorn is going to make a positive interaction with Neptune, who's in his place of power in this Pisces energy, trying to bring a certain level of healing, a certain level of spiritual awareness on where it is that certain people are playing very specific roles in our lives to teach us very specific lessons that we wouldn't otherwise learn. And so this is like an aha moment, a renewal, a refresher of this spiritual perspective of the soul contracts being played out right now, and an opportunity for us to have this awareness, this aha moment, to see things from a different set of eyes and to understand that we are looking to break that particular contract, that particular energy exchange, that particular looping behavior. And so the sun then gets into the boxing ring and squares off with the North Node in Aries. So the sun is in Capricorn energy as well. The North Node in Aries trying to get us on the right path to reach our soul's next mission, our soul's potential, the next quest, if you will. This is definitely going to distress us to a point where we start seeing where it is that we're totally unsatisfied with current situations and circumstances in our lives, where it is that some conflicts, some disagreements, some arguments are coming to a head, where it is that we're moving in a direction that isn't really in alignment with the vision, with the hopes, with the wishes, that the dreams that we're trying to visualize right now. We see ourselves moving in a direction that is not promoting growth, not promoting happiness, not promoting, let's call it, peace. This is a time where we're realizing that our ego is kind of in the lead right now and taking us on a very dark path of pettiness, of vengeance, of really sitting in those darker, funky type of feelings. And of course, we don't want to do that. We want to break away from that path. We want to find ourselves on a path where we're allowing our higher selves to lead, where we're understanding where it is that the ego is at play, where it's going to take us on a dark path, and where it is that we, if we're acting as the observer, have the choice in that moment to kind of redirect ourselves. So it is going to be I'm going to call it a funky time, because we're very uncomfortable. And some situations, some dialogues, some circumstances going to totally push us out of our comfort zone, totally derail us on the path that we were trying to stay on, totally derail us from our energy, from our effort to try and stay in a positive light, in a positive mind frame, in an optimistic mind frame as well. This is very counterproductive for our energy, but very necessary to realize where it is that we do have some issues that we're going to have to address, close the door on, in order for us to move forward without this lingering discontentment pulling us back onto a path that we're fighting very hard to kind of get off of and grow out of. The moon in Capricorn going to make a positive interaction with Venus. We love this because this is a realization, an aha moment on what it is that we need. Our values have changed. Our priorities have changed. This is when we move into the heart space and realize where it is that we could have really found ourselves on a dark path if we would have given into our ego and kind of played the bitter and petty exchange that was trying to bait us into a not so nice circumstance. But when we align with our heart space, of course, Venus being in the Sag energy, we just want freedom. We want to be happy. We want to go with the flow. We don't want to be tied down. We don't want to be restricted from going after what it is that we want. We have new hopes. We have new dreams. We have new visions of what it is that we want to create in our realm where happiness and safety and security and stability is concerned, especially where relationship dynamics are concerned. And we just had a major epiphany, a major pop off on where some relationship dynamics are trying to pull us back into the darkness. And we don't want that. We want to lead ourselves into the light. So the last aspect that we have going on here today is the moon in Capricorn getting into the boxing ring, fighting it out with Chiron. So Chiron's the wounded healer. He's direct in Aries energy now, giving us a warrior type of spirit to address the problem and then to tackle that problem head on. We're not resistant from it. We're not shying away from it. We're not kind of clamming up in a ball. We understand that as long as we can identify the problem, we have the resources, the wisdom, the knowledge, the experience to fix it. And so the moon kind of squaring off with Chiron is an interesting dynamic, especially following some of the aspects that we just kind of experienced, because this new identity, this new version of self, we want better. We want more peace. We want more stability. We want more happiness. And we're understanding by looking back at the day where some triggers and activations popped off, where either those particular circumstances, situations, or the people involved with it are no longer in alignment with the identity that we're trying to anchor in. And that's okay. It can bring up some not so nice thoughts and feelings because it never feels good to outgrow some relationship dynamics that you thought were going to be around here for a while. But at the same time, how are we expecting ourselves to constantly be pushing the boundaries of who it is that we are, what it is that we want for ourselves, and expect that everybody that we've had a connection with in the old state of self is going to be coming with us? Not everybody is growing at the same rate. Not everybody is putting their own wants, needs, and desires first. Not everybody has your best interest at heart. And sometimes we need a bitch slap of truth and reality in our face in order to realize where it is that we have to let certain situations, circumstances, and in some cases, people go.